You think the Genius Act is going to be the most important for the crypto industry. Why is that?
Yeah, well, I think that the first two bills you mentioned, the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, are both incredibly important for the crypto industry. What's really exciting about the Genius Act is that bill now goes to the president's desk. So this is the first time that we have a new regulatory framework for part of the crypto industry getting signed into law. The president is hosting a signing ceremony at the White House tomorrow. And so by the end of the week, the Genius Act will be the law of the land. The Clarity Act is also incredibly important. That now moves on to the Senate. But I think what's really remarkable, and I was actually up in the Capitol, up in the gallery watching the votes earlier today, is both of these votes got a tremendous amount of bipartisan support. The Clarity Act had 294 positive votes, and there were 308 for the Genius Act. So this is about as bipartisan as an issue gets. And I think it shows that Americans love crypto, and they're excited that Washington is responding and putting the framework in place.
We were just showing a graphic with your predictions in terms of how much this industry, which is currently 250 billion stablecoins, that is 250 billion, will grow to 2 trillion in the next few years, Kristin. And does that incorporate, does that assume the Genius Act becomes, did that assume, I should say, the Genius Act becomes law? Or is there an additional expansion because of the passage of this?
Well, we've seen tremendous growth in stablecoins over the past 4 or 5 years, despite having a fairly hostile regulatory environment. A lot of that has been overseas. So I think that these, predictions, and these aren't my predictions. This I got from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, is the one who made this prediction of the $2 trillion market by 2028. This is the framework is in place, and this allows traditional finance, traditional payments companies to look at stablecoin solutions as they're upgrading their financial infrastructure. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity. We've seen some of the big banks are interested in this. The payments companies are interested in this. And so I think now that this rule is in place, this law is in place, or will be as of tomorrow afternoon, I think that it's really off to the races for the markets, competitive companies to do their jobs. And I think it's a real opportunity, and one that ultimately will benefit businesses and consumers alike.
How much alike? And I'm just wondering, because it seems like the first use case, as one would imagine, for stablecoin is for trade in some way. I mean, it's faster. It'll be immediately settled. There's no sort of overhang. And so that seems like the obvious use case. In terms of consumers, are we going to be creating all these different ecosystems where every retailer, every business has their own stablecoin, and that's how you transact? That seems very inconvenient.
Yeah, no, I think that's the big question. I mean, obviously having interoperability is very good. There are a couple of major issuers of stablecoins that are issued on multiple different chains, including Solana. And so I think, how the marketplace plays out is sort of beyond my level of prediction. But what I know is that, blockchains like Solana, for example, are very fast financial rails. And what we can do is when you put these assets on there, you can trade, as you mentioned, and you can send money around the world. You can settle trades instantly. There are a lot of benefits to it, and I think it'll be really interesting to see the way different companies incorporate this. But I think for the end user and consumer, they want something easy and convenient, and so I think those solutions that meet what the consumer wants are going to be those that are the most successful.